Okay, so let's talk about something that, kind of hangs over electric cars for a lot of people. That worry.
You mean range anxiety
Yeah.
and how long it takes to charge.
Exactly. Can I actually get where I'm going? And am I going to be sitting there for hours? It's a real thing.
These are very common concerns, absolutely. There's significant barriers both practically and, well, psychologically for many potential EV owners.
Right, which is why this deep dive is, well, frankly, pretty exciting for me. We've been looking at some source material excerpts from this piece called Solid-State Batteries, Electric Mobility's Revolutionary Future.
Mm.
And it basically lays out how this tech could just make those worries disappear. It sounds like it could change, well, everything for EVs.
The source definitely frames solid-state batteries that way. Not just a small step, but potentially an epical turning point, as it calls it. Something needed for EVs to really break through those limits and hit the mainstream.
Epical turning point. Yeah,
Mhm.
sounds big, doesn't it? So our goal here, our mission, is to walk you through what the source says about this. Understand what's actually different. Look at this cool example from Xiaomi the text talks about.
And the challenges, too, that are mentioned.
Yeah, the challenges and what it all means for you, whether you're already into EVs like I am, or maybe you're still on the fence or just curious. Because honestly, what this source describes, it could be huge for the future of cars.
And to really get why solid state is promising, the source material starts by laying out the issues with what we have now, lithium-ion batteries, with that liquid electrolyte.
Right, the stuff we already know. Range anxiety. The source connects that straight to how much energy you can physically pack into current batteries, their energy density limits. That's a key bottleneck it highlights.
Precisely. And it's not just density. The source really stresses the safety side, too, that liquid electrolyte. It can be flammable. That introduces risks, thermal runaways, fires in some situations. It's been a big focus for safety.
And that liquid seems to cause practical headaches too, right? The source links it to slower charging speeds and maybe the battery not lasting quite as long.
Yes, the way ions move in a liquid just has certain physical limits compared to what might be possible with optimized solids. It impacts charging speed, definitely. And the chemical interactions at the liquid interface can contribute to degradation over time, reducing the battery's lifespan.
Okay, so that's the problem set. What's the big change with solid state then, according to our source? What replaces that tricky liquid?
Well, the core idea, the fundamental shift that the source material explains, is swapping out that traditional liquid or gel electrolyte for a solid one. The text mentions things like ceramics or maybe special solid polymers. That's the key.
Swapping liquid for solid. Sounds simple, but our source says this unlocks massive improvements. So what are the big, game-changing advantages the text points to?
The source lays out several key benefits that come from using a solid electrolyte. First off, safety. Huge improvement there. By getting rid of the flammable liquid, the risk of overheating, of fires, it's drastically reduced. The battery becomes inherently safer.
Safer is good. Always good. What's next? Because range is what everyone asks about.
Right. And the source really emphasizes the potential for much, much higher energy density. Because the solid structure is more stable, it lets you use different, more powerful materials, like lithium metal for the anode, which can hold way more energy in the same space or weight compared to the graphite used now.
Oh, okay.
That's where the source sees the potential for huge jumps in range without making the battery physically bigger, a major enabler for getting more people into EVs.
Gotcha. So the solid structure actually enables using better energy storing stuff. That makes sense for boosting range. What else does the source mention?
It also talks about potentially longer lifespan for the battery. The idea is the solid structure degrades less over charge cycles compared to what happens with the liquid interfaces. And crucially, the potential for way faster charging.
Faster charging with a solid. How does that work?
It seems a bit counterintuitive, maybe, but the source explains that with the right kind of solid materials engineered properly for ionic conductivity, ions can actually move very efficiently, really fast, allowing for rapid energy transfer.
Okay, hold on. Safer, packs way more energy for more range, lasts longer, and charges super fast. Wow, if the source material is right, that basically fixes every major complaint about EVs today. That's really exciting to see this evolution happening.
It does sound like a comprehensive set of solutions.
And just to be clear, the source is saying all these benefits really stem from that one core chain going to a solid electrolyte.
Yes, fundamentally. The source links these advantages directly back to that change. The solid acts as a stable barrier. It allows using those higher capacity materials, and, if engineered right, It facilitates that quick ion movement needed for fast charging, overcoming the limitations you get with liquids.
Fascinating. One change, so many potential benefits. Now, the source material we looked at doesn't just stick to theory. It dives into a really specific, pretty compelling example. Xiaomi, the phone company.
Well, they're much more than phones now, heavily invested in EVs.
Right. And according to this source, they've developed a pretty remarkable solid-state battery.
Yes, the source uses Xiaomi's work as a kind of case study. It goes into quite a bit of detail,
Yeah.
showing what's actually being achieved right now.
And the numbers the source quotes for this battery are, well, they're kind of mind-blowing. Energy density first. It says superior to 1,000 Wh/liter. Okay, what does that actually mean for a car, according to the text? Like, in plain English.
That figure, 1,000 watt-hours per liter, it's very high compared to what's typical in EVs on the road today. The source uses it to show just how much energy could be packed in efficiently. Think of it like this. You could store over a kilowatt-hour of energy in the space of a 1-liter bottle.
Wow.
So for a car, it means you could either fit a much bigger energy capacity battery into the same space for way more range, or get the range you want with a smaller, lighter battery pack. Both are huge wins for EV design and performance, as the source points out.
Okay, so yeah, not just a little bit better, a serious jump in energy packaging. More miles, no bigger battery. Perfect. And the source mentions something interesting about making it too. Quote, compatible with current Lion production lines. Why is that so important, according to the text?
That's highlighted as really crucial for actually getting this tech out there. If it's compatible, it means manufacturers might not need to build entirely new, incredibly expensive factories from the ground up just for solid state.
Right, they could potentially adapt existing lines.
That's the implication in the source. It could speed up mass production and hopefully bring costs down faster, which, as the source suggests, is pretty essential if this is going to be widely adopted.
Makes total sense. Get better batteries out faster, maybe cheaper. Lowers the barrier. Okay, back to safety for a sec. The source said Xiaomi ceramic solid electrolyte acts as a barrier against lithium dendrites. What are dendrites and why is blocking them a big deal, based on what the source says?
Right, dendrites. The source describes them as these tiny, unwanted needle-like structures of lithium metal that can grow inside some batteries over time, especially ones using those high-energy lithium metal anodes we mentioned.
Needle-like. That sounds bad.
It can be. If they grow too long, they can pierce the separator inside the battery and cause a short circuit between the positive and negative sides. That short circuit is a major cause of battery failure, faster degradation, and in the worst case, overheating and fires.
Okay, so the solid ceramic isn't just letting ions through. The source says it physically stops those dangerous needles. That ties right back to the safety benefit, tackling a root cause of problems.
Exactly. It addresses a fundamental challenge that's historically made using those high-energy anodes difficult. So it boosts safety and likely helps the battery last longer, according to the source's description.
The source also talks about how Xiaomi integrates the battery, a cell-to-body architecture. What does the source tell us about that?
This approach, as the source explains it, means building the battery pack right into the car's structure, the chassis itself, instead of a separate box bolted on.
So it becomes part of the car's frame, almost?
Kind of, yeah. The source cites benefits like using space way more efficiently, mentions a volumetric efficiency of 77.8%, meaning more of the battery pack is actual energy storage. And it can apparently make the car's body stiffer too because the battery adds structural strength.
Smart.
Yeah.
Better packaging, more room inside. The source gives a thickness to 12 centimeters. What does that tell us?
The source calls that competitive and near the best. So it suggests a pretty slim battery pack design that helps designers create cars with flat floors, more interior space, just more flexibility overall, which the source sees as an advantage.
Okay, the tech sounds amazing, denser, safer, integrated smartly. But the bottom line for anyone thinking EV is always performance, range, charging time, and our source. It quotes figures for this Xiaomi battery that just sound transformative, like up to 1,200 kilometers of range.
Based on the CLTC cycle it specifies.
Right, CLTC. And recovering 800 kilometers of range in just 10 minutes of charging.
Those are the headline figures presented in the source, yes. That 1,200-kilometer range, even acknowledging the CLTC cycle, might be generous compared to EPA or WLTP standards.
Still huge.
It's still a massive potential range. It basically eliminates range anxiety for almost any conceivable trip. Long journeys on one charge become feasible.
1,200 kilometers. For most people, that's driving for weeks. Or a huge road trip chunk without stopping. And getting 800 kilometers back in 10 minutes, that's faster than filling up with gas, realistically. Finding the station, paying, all that.
It certainly approaches that level of convenience.
This is the stuff that gets me really excited about where EVs are going, making them not just equal, but maybe even more convenient.
That rapid charging capability, recovering so much range so quickly, is what the source implies really dismantles the whole long charging time issue. Makes quick top-ups on a trip truly practical. Supports that epical turning point view.
Okay, so the source paints a picture of Xiaomi making huge progress, showing the potential. But, is it all smooth sailing, or are there still hurdles? You mentioned dendrites earlier.
Yes, those dendrites, they remain a primary technical challenge, as the source acknowledges, especially when you're pushing for those really high energy densities using lithium metal anodes. It's a critical thing to manage.
But the source suggests solutions are being worked on and then implemented.
Correct. The text explicitly states that Xiaomi, in their design, and other researchers are actively working on this. It highlights how the solid electrolyte itself, particularly ceramic types, acts as that physical barrier we discussed.
Okay.
And beyond that, the source mentions ongoing development of special ceramic coatings and innovative materials, specifically designed to block dendrite growth even more effectively. This is key for ensuring safety and making sure the battery lasts a long time through many charge cycles.
Good. Good to know the known problems have known solutions being developed, according to the source. So if the tech is getting this good, what does the source predict for the wider market, for, people thinking about buying an EV?
The source outlines some pretty significant market shifts. Basically, by tackling those core issues, range and charging time head-on, solid-state batteries are expected to make EVs much, much more attractive to a far broader audience.
So it's not just for the early adopters or the EV enthusiasts anymore. This could bring in the skeptics, the people who said, nope, not for me, too inconvenient.
Precisely. The text forecasts an acceleration in EV adoption. It specifically talks about increased diffusion even among skeptical or undecided consumers who were held back by those performance limits before. And that wider acceptance, the source suggests, leads to other good things.
Like what?
Well, obvious environmental benefits from moving away from fossil fuels faster, but also, the source suggests, it will stimulate the development of more efficient charging infrastructure.
Ah, because if cars can charge super fast, there's more reason to build super fast chargers.
Exactly. The demand justifies the investment in high-power charging networks much more clearly. It creates a positive feedback loop.
Better batteries drive better infrastructure, which makes the batteries even more useful. Yeah, that really feels like the kind of fundamental change that could speed up the whole EV transition, like you said, addressing those core hesitations. I love seeing that cycle.
The source definitely presents it as a catalyst for a wider shift in, well, transportation and energy.
So where are we now? Is it still mostly lab stuff, or are the big car companies actually jumping in?
Oh, they're definitely in. The source confirms major automakers see the potential. It lists names like Toyota, Volkswagen, Mercedes, BMW, Stellantis. They're all investing heavily in solid-state R&D and production plans. It shows a serious industry commitment.
Okay, big players involved. Does the source give any kind of timeline? Like, when might we actually see cars with these batteries for sale?
It does provide a time frame. The source suggests we could start seeing solid-state batteries introduced in commercially available vehicles somewhere between 2026 and 2030.
All right, so not tomorrow, but, within the next 5 to 7 years. That's pretty close. Is it just the giants working on this?
No. The text also makes a point of mentioning that innovative startups are also accelerating research and production. That mix of established companies and nimble startups is often a sign of a field moving very quickly with lots of different ideas being tried out.
Yeah, that dynamic usually pushes things forward fast. Okay, one last but really important point the source makes. A key caveat. Can you just, swap one of these into your current EV?
No. That's a crucial distinction the source highlights. It explicitly states these batteries are not retrocompatible with today's electric cars.
Not retrocompatible, so you can't just pull out the old battery and slot in a new solid-state one.
Exactly. The source explains the real revolution happens with new models designed from the ground up for this technology. Things like that cell-to-body structure we talked about, maybe different cooling systems, different power management. The whole car platform needs to be engineered specifically to take full advantage of solid state.
That makes sense. You need the car and battery designed together to get all the benefits. So the biggest changes will come with the next generations of EVs.
It suggests the battery tech shift will likely drive, or at least coincide with, new generations of vehicle platforms.
Okay, so let's pull this all together. Looking back at everything, our source material covered the old limits, the new solid electrolyte approach, the incredible potential shown by Xiaomi with those, frankly, amazing range and charging figures, how they're tackling the challenges, the huge market impact. What's the source's final takeaway? How significant is this really?
The source leaves little doubt about its conclusion. It calls solid-state batteries an epical turning point for electric mobility, plain and simple. It keeps circling back to the idea that this tech can finally overcome those long-standing hurdles of current EVs.
Making them safer, better performing.
Exactly. Safer, significantly better performance on range and charging, and just ultimately making EVs a more practical, more appealing choice for way more people than ever before.
And it's specifically pointed to Xiaomi again in that summary.
Yes, the source identifies Xiaomi as a key player in this shift. It credits their technological innovation, the battery specs we discussed, and also their approach compatible with existing production lines, which it sees as vital for actually making it happen on a large scale.
That combination, the breakthrough tech and a path to actually build it, yeah, that really highlights the potential impact. Honestly, after digging into the source like this, it's hard not to feel really optimistic. Safer batteries, range, and charging that just blow away the old problems. This deep dive makes it so clear why this is such an exciting leap for electric cars. I'm genuinely happy to see this happening.
It certainly illustrates how targeted technological progress can unlock a future for electric transport that many people, myself included, have been anticipating for a long time. Makes the electric car proposition much stronger.
Absolutely. So, thinking about all this, the huge jump in performance, the safety, the big companies investing it, leaves a really interesting thought for you, the listener, doesn't it? Given these advancements that seem pretty close now, how might the whole world of electric cars change? Not just the tech, but how we actually use them, how we own them, maybe even how we just think about cars day to day in the next, say, 10 years.
That's the crux of it, isn't it? The potential for fundamental transformation this technology brings to the table.
Definitely something to chew on as things unfold. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive into what solid-state batteries could mean based on the source material we explored today.
A fascinating topic to unpack.
Hey, if you found this deep dive useful, maybe got you thinking, or just got you a bit excited about the future of EVs like me, do us a favor and give us a like. It genuinely helps other people find the show. And remember, we do this for you. You can always submit your own ideas for topics you want us to dive into. What questions have you got? Let us know.
Yes, please do engage. We welcome your suggestions for future explorations.